Nottingham Forest are linked to yet another midfielder. Can we please get a defender? Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest transfer news. In today's episode, we'll be talking about yet another midfielder linked to Forest. Where are the defenders? We'll be talking about the latest update on the goalkeeping situation. And of course, we'll bring you all the other linked players and some players that actually won't be coming to Forest. Before we start, quick reminder, 43% of you now are not subscribed to the channel that are watching this. If you'd be kind enough to hit a like button and subscribe, make sure you're logged onto your Google account. Otherwise, it won't let you subscribe. Turn those notifications on so you will be the first to know as soon as there is some breaking Forest news. Don't forget, tonight on Grumpy Old Reds, we have special guest Matt SB. You guys have been asking for him, and we're delivering him for you. So be tuned in for that this evening. But let's get into this and let's talk about not only the players we're linked to, but the weirdness and the strategy currently with Nottingham Forest. So Roberto Gagliardini has been linked to Nottingham Forest from Inter Milan, and he is more of a CDM / box-to-box kind of midfielder who can sometimes play in an attacking position as well. Sounds familiar? Yes. Sounds like Danilo, sounds like Freuler, sounds like potentially Yates, sounds like a lot of what we've currently got. Now, he is more renowned for being a CDM. He's got decent pace, decent physically, but not really brilliant in my opinion. I don't know. I kind of just want to talk about the strategy here. It feels like where Forest were doing their best business, for me, was the likes of Danilo, where we're getting that young, up-and-coming, shiny talent, and those are the types of players that Cooper works really well with. When you're looking at Roberto here, he's more of an established player at 28 years old. Well, not too much left in the tank. Look, 4 or 5 years he still has, granted. But what I'm saying is the strategy has clearly changed with the way Nottingham Forest are recruiting, or at least the players that are currently linked to us. Because has this been impacted by the departure of Dame Murphy, Mr. Moneyball himself, who strategized a lot of what happened, firstly in our promotion campaign last season, and a lot of the players that were coming through the door in the summer? This stinks to me a bit of the Watford man coming in, and shock horror, suddenly we're linked to loads of Italian players. I wonder why that is. But I'm not saying he's a bad player, nor am I saying he's a good player. I'll be straight with you, I don't rate him very highly. And it just makes you wonder with the likes of Chris Wood coming in, who's a slow coach, who's over 30 years old, with Roberto being linked to us as well. Are Forest looking to solidify in this window, now that we got Danilo in, into more experience around them? But the question is, where would he fit in into the squad? Who does he get in ahead of? These are the questions we have to ask. Now, I get it, squad depth is really good, but I want players who are going to challenge for those first team shirts more so than squad players, because what that will do by default is it will push the ones that are currently in the team into a squad position, potentially, if that even makes sense. So don't strengthen from below, strengthen from above, and force the ones who currently wear their shirt to think about their position. Now with Roberto, let me give you some stats on him. It's probably the easiest way to do it. Look, he's played a lot for Inter Milan over the last few seasons. This season, he's only had about 8 games with them. That's been deteriorating over the last couple of seasons. The seasons before, he had 18 matches for them and 28 in that season in the 2021 campaign. He's also played for Italy at an international stage, but hasn't played for them since 2020. And he's not it for me. He really isn't. And that Italian team, let's not forget, isn't one of the strongest currently going internationally. They didn't even qualify for the World Cup. So do I see him doing a job at Forest? Yes. Do I see him being the right fit? No. But that's just my opinion. Maybe you guys know a bit more about him than I do. Maybe you know nothing about him. Let me know your thoughts on him down below. Let's talk about goalkeepers. Look, a lot of you are asking me about Livakovic, the Croatian. He seems to be the fans' favourite to buy in, including mine as well. I'll be straight with you guys. The story on him is getting quieter and quieter, and that does worry me, especially as the story on Navas is increasing in strength as well as sourcing. For me, Navas isn't the one, man. He's not good anymore. He's not good anymore. That's just my opinion. He's only going to cost us like 4 or 5 mil. That's not really the issue for me. The issue is going to be his wages. He still comes with that persona and that pedigree that demands a high wage. And he's too short. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. Livakovic, for me, is the better goalkeeper. He's younger. He's 27. He's proven at international level. You can argue, yes, he's coming from a farmers league, but that doesn't matter to me too much because a goalkeeper is a goalkeeper at the end of the day. And in terms of what they can produce, as long as they've scaled it up on international level at a high level, I mean, he's got to semi-finals of World Cups and Euros, etc. He, to me, is the right choice. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what side of the fence you're sitting on this debate, it looks like Navas is going to be the one coming to Nottingham Forest. And that comes with its own problems. Now, Cooper yesterday was talking about goalkeepers, and he kind of did hint that Forest are in for a goalkeeper. And he said that Hendo's injury is a lot shorter than he expected. I don't believe it for a second. Otherwise, we wouldn't be looking at a goalkeeper. These next 2 matches against Manchester United, Hendo couldn't have played anyway. And we could have limped across over 2 or 3 matches with Hennessy if we really needed to, if Hendo was that close to being fit. And bringing Navas in, I just don't see how Navas would agree to this without some reassurances of certain amount of first-team game times. Now, no one is guaranteed a first-team slot. I grant you that. But sometimes players that coming in who have a history behind them and have, pedigree behind them, they can make certain types of demands. You've seen it with the likes of Ronaldo previously and players like that. I don't know. I just don't like the feeling of this. And I don't like that we're starting to recruit at the post-30 age with Wood, or potentially Navas, with Roberto from Inter Milan that we're being linked to. I preferred it when we were targeting these younger players. Now, if you're bringing in Prem experience players, and now I sound contradictory because Wood has Prem experience, I get it. But at the moment, the recruitment just feels like it's falling away a little bit, in my opinion. You guys may agree or disagree. As always, let me know down in the comments below. Salim Amallah, who was strongly linked, the Moroccan international, to Nottingham Forest, which we brought you just before the transfer window opened, I believe, on FFTV, is not going to be coming to Nottingham Forest. Now, it looks like his pastures lie in the Spanish league. Again, this is probably driven maybe by us already signing Danilo. He really did want to come to Forest, though, from the sources that I read and everything. So it's interesting to see that this has no longer happened. It feels to me like Forest are pulling out because of the likes of Danilo coming in and potentially 1 or 2 other players. So don't expect to see him if you were a fan of him. I wasn't really that fussed about him. He was all right. But again, I just feel like it's a position we have plenty of cover in for me. I still think we need a centre-back more than anything. And then another striker. I know we've just signed Wood, but it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. The only problem is on centre-back, you got Holgate, who's been linked to, I don't think is good enough. We spoke about him yesterday. And the other one that's being talked about is Lascelles coming back from Newcastle. Why are we suddenly turning into a Newcastle retirement home? That really is starting to concern me if he were to come, or maybe Darla. Look, Darla I'd probably take, but not Lascelles, man. No. He's past it. Let him go. He's not the player he was at Forest, and we've got to make our peace with that. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you think that we should be recruiting more younger talent, or do you think we should have this experience that's coming in? Bear in mind, the experience we're bringing in is not Premier League experienced players, apart from Wood, obviously. Where does the balance lie? I think it should be somewhere in the middle. But I feel like we're leaning more towards the post-30 players than the mid to early 20s at the moment. It's an interesting topic. I think maybe we'll have a quick debate on this on Grumpy Old Reds tonight with Matt SB. You will not want to miss that. That's the transfer news. It is a bit quiet at the moment with Forest, which usually means something is very close and in the pipeline to happening as Secret Squirrel Society goes into overdrive. Before you leave, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and we'll see you tonight on Grumpy Old Reds with special guest Matt SB. Come on, you Reds.